Hello everyone, welcome back to Tech Term Tuesday. I am really excited for this video today because we are talking all about hosting, and hosting was one of those things at the beginning of my website journey that I just did not understand. No matter how many things I looked up, I just couldn't put the pieces together. I thought that I was purchasing something that was not needed and I was getting scammed, and I just didn't understand the point of hosting at all. So I'm really excited to help explain it to you today and to make the hosting part of your website a little bit more understandable. So we are going to go over what the heck hosting is, why you need it, where you can find hosting, and a small caveat to this whole hosting world. So, in short, what the heck is hosting? Well, I like to describe it as the means to get your website actually live and on the internet for anybody to see. So, when you think of it in a more tangible way that you might understand, is think of a Word document and then think of a Google Doc. So the Word document is something that lives on your computer and your computer only, unless you were to physically send the file to somebody else. No one can just hop on their own computer and pull up your Word document. It just doesn't work like that. It's on your computer and yours only. On the other hand, something like a Google Doc is hosted on the internet and is available for anyone to see who has access to the link, and it doesn't matter what computer they're on, doesn't matter where they're at, they can still pull up that Google Doc and access the document. So completely different from having something that lives on your computer only to having something that is hosted online and accessible for anybody to see. So that is an easy way to describe it. Now, when you think about hosting, it seems a little obvious. Like, well, of course I want my website to be live and on the internet. And I think some people think that that is just an automatic given, but we have to actually purchase the hosting and connect it to your WordPress account. And from there, that hosting allows your website to be on the internet. It's not something that is just automatic. I don't know why, but there are just two different steps to it. Now, where the heck do you get hosting? There are a ton of different options. The most popular options are going to be something like Bluehost, SiteGround. There is Flywheel, GoDaddy, there are a ton. All you need to do is type in website hosting and there will be, so many options that show up. We always recommend Bluehost because it's what we use. We love it, have not had any issues with it at all. Our site never goes down. We don't really ever have to contact them. So that is a good host in my book. If you have to contact your host all the time because there are so many issues, then that is not good. But the fact that we never have to contact them is really a plus in my book. So I like that. I don't need to, be bothered by reaching out to them because of issues, because there really aren't any issues. So we recommend Bluehost to all of our clients, and we actually also have a step-by-step walkthrough that shows you directions on how to set up your hosting and connect it to a WordPress account so that you can get started on your website. So I will try to leave the instructions or the link in the description, and you can go ahead and see the step-by-step process of setting up your hosting and getting it onto WordPress. And I think you will be pleasantly surprised at how easy it is. This walkthrough really shows you every single step with screen shares and everything, so you know exactly what to look for and what it's going to look like, and you're not, searching for the right button or the right, option. It shows you step by step how to set up your hosting. So besides all of that, you know, in total, basically you need hosting in order to get your website live and on the internet. The only small caveat that I want to mention is if you're using something like Squarespace, the Squarespace platform actually includes hosting for you, and it's all kind of like part of their package deal. So you can use their platform to build your website. They offer your hosting, and I don't know if they offer domain. I don't think they do. I think you have to actually purchase your domain elsewhere and then connect it. But Squarespace does provide the hosting and the actual platform builder and the platform that your website is hosted on. So you might be thinking, well, that sounds easier. Why wouldn't I just, you know, go the Squarespace route and have it all just in one? Which you absolutely could. I do not have any experience in Squarespace, so I can't speak about it as far as like, you know, actually using it and having like a hands-on experience. The only time I've ever used Squarespace is to move clients from Squarespace, so I have very little knowledge on their back end and their systems. But Squarespace is not as cost efficient as using something like WordPress and purchasing your own hosting. So the host that I mentioned, Bluehost, they actually have plans for as little as under $4 a month, and it comes with a year free domain name and a free SSL certificate, which is like that little green lock at the top of your website, and sometimes it'll say secure, which is just like a security measure that is really great to have in place, especially if you are taking any sort of payment on your website. You absolutely need to have that. And Bluehost includes all of those things for you. And it's under, like I said, $4 a month. So when you look at something like Squarespace and the cost is about $20 a month, a little under, for their business plan, the costs really are quite different. And it is something that's going to be a repeated cost yearly. So you can absolutely get started with way less investment if you are using something like Bluehost and WordPress. And there are a ton of free page builders and things like that if you want to keep your costs down. Or you can go ahead and hire somebody like us to create a website for you and just have the freedom and the customization, you know, possibilities that WordPress offers. I have heard a lot that Squarespace, you know, has some limitations, and that's why I said I have only moved people away from Squarespace because they have ran into those limitations. And the freedom with WordPress is just kind of like, you know, it's unrivaled between the two. I couldn't see myself ever going to Squarespace just because a page builder will offer you the same capabilities that Squarespace has as far as a drag and drop builder. Once you have a page builder, you can put that onto your WordPress website and still have all the freedom of WordPress, but you will have the building capabilities like WordPress, like Squarespace, sorry. A lot of different names here. So that is the one caveat to hosting. If you are using something like Squarespace, you do not need to purchase hosting first. If you are using WordPress, the kind of steps that you would want to go through things is you would go to someplace like Bluehost. You would, well, first of all, you can pull up our step-by-step, you know, walkthrough to have it walk you through and like not be lost. But essentially, you would go to Bluehost. You would go to their hosting packages and find the hosting package that is right for you. Whether you are just starting out with very limited, you know, expectations on traffic, at least like at this very moment in time. If you already have a following and you know you're going to have tons of traffic to your website, of course we would want to bump up the hosting to allow for that sort of traffic to come into the site. But if you're just starting out, you can definitely start with just the basic plan that is under the $4 a month. And you would want to sign up for that plan, and it will tell you in there that it includes a free domain name for 1 year. So once you are in there, you would then decide on your domain name, get all of that purchased and, finalized. And then in our walkthrough, it will show you how to then connect WordPress to your domain name and to your hosting. And then you can, from there, build out your actual site or hire somebody like us to go ahead and take care of your website for you. So those are the steps to hosting. You need to have hosting before you can even start on your website. I wish you could kind of like start your website. Maybe you can, I don't know. I've just always done hosting first, but I wish you could kind of like start on your website and play around with it and then decide to host it after. But you need to host first, get your domain, get all of that set up, and then go over to WordPress and start building your website. So I hope that makes sense. I hope I answered and kind of cleared up some of the confusion around hosting. But if you have any other questions regarding hosting at all, leave them in the comments below and I would be more than happy to answer them. So thank you so much for joining on another Tech Term Tuesday. I really love this series because these are all the things that tripped me up in the beginning and I had no idea what the heck people were talking about. I had to Google every single term, and this is just a way for you to slowly get introduced to some terms and to really have a good idea about this whole entire tech world when it comes to dealing with your online business. So, like I said, if you have any other questions, please leave them below and I will go ahead and see you next week.